affordable housing is key right now. Southwest Florida alone, there's a need for 4,000 units of affordable housing. I had no clue, never met the guy. I sent the penthouse to Dan Bilzarian's DM. East Coast is wild. I mean, Miami is going to be the next Vegas.
You've got a few thousand that are documenting the ledger.
Do you truly understand anything you just said?
I watched Crypto for Dummies.
We also took United, which was the worst flight of my life.
United is trash, I'll tell
Trash.
you. Yeah.
Trash.
Yeah.
And I think it's, 14 hours from LA?
Yeah. It depends which way you're
aggressive.
going. Apparently it's 14 there and 15 back.
Yeah.
So
That was not fun.
I know.
That was brutal.
It's funny though because like, what is it? The Australia, for us, you tell us something's 20 hours away, we're like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
Americans, it's like
It's
6 hours away.
6 hours away. You're just like, okay, well, you got to pop a Xanax or something.
Yeah, I just found out that Europe's 10 hours away from me, and I'm like, holy fuck, that's so close.
Yeah,
Like, I'm
yeah.
like, oh, I'm going all the time now.
Right.
So thanks for coming on, by the way.
Thank you.
This is the first time we've actually met. That's what I love about this is just like, I'll just DM people. I'm like, this guy's interesting. This girl's interesting. I'm like, let's just chat for 2 hours.
Just shoot from the hip, right?
Yeah. So for people who are not familiar with who Brad is, just give him a little spiel if they're listening. And then, I mean, like I said, we shoot the shit and
Sure.
I'll probably have a million questions or we'll talk about fucking vaccine. No, we won't.
Let's get off of that.
Let's get off that. Yeah. So yeah, tell them a bit about yourself and what you do.
Sure. So I've been in Southwest Florida for about 25 years. I went to Bishop Verot High School. My sophomore year, I moved down from Rhode Island. My parents were retiring, so my father was a retired physician. We used to vacation in Southwest Florida all the time, so that's kind of why we went to the West Coast of Florida, because we had my aunt was in Fort Myers, so it was our vacation destination, and they said, hey, listen, we want to move to Florida. You want to move? I was like, I'm at an all-boys high school, Bishop Hendricken, whatever. And they said, you want to move to Florida? I was like, to a co-ed school? Let's go. And there was no looking back. I mean, honestly, the opportunity that lied, in the future for me to be in Southwest Florida, it was just a tremendous opportunity, tremendous upside. So went to FGCU. I was one of the first graduating classes there. And the whole landscape of FGCU now versus back in the day, I was like Jack Hanna driving down Ben Hill Griffith. There was rattlesnakes and alligators, and now you see with Miramar and you see with the Gulf Coast Town Center how built up it is. It's a complete different transformation. So got my business degree there, and the easiest degree you could possibly get, entrepreneurship, was doing the modeling thing back then. So lived in New York, did some really pretty cool stuff. Perry Ellis, Tommy Hilfiger, best parties in the world.
You told me that's kind of cool.
It was.
Did you Abercrombie though?
I did not.
See, I watched this documentary.
I did not.
And I was like, it was meant to deter you from it, and I was like, I kind of want to buy this shit
There
now.
was some real weird stuff in the male model industry, and I think that's the reason why I did not really succeed in it, is because
Look, sometimes you got to suck a dick to get ahead.
You said it. So that's why I was not booked.
Yeah.
But it was a really good experience. I mean, you were just hanging around celebrities, and you were just the hottest clubs, the hottest restaurants. It was fun, but you made no money. So, I was like, all right, well, I didn't use my degree. Well, let's get into real estate. So I moved back to Southwest Florida. Got into real estate, the right place, the right time. The market was just on the cusp of booming. It was 2004. Placed my license with Keller Williams Realty. Great company. It's just, it's like, which we'll get into. The reason why we're different in real estate is because we always like working with investors, and I found that was my niche. I went to Keller Williams right off the bat, joined the team. I knew that was not for me. Showing houses and, literally talking to the woman only because she's the one that makes the decision, talking about cabinet colors, not my style whatsoever.
Yeah.
So got into investment real estate. So I said, back then it was stated loans. They would give anybody with a pulse 100% financing. So I said, well, let me actually go outside of Southwest Florida to sell Southwest Florida. So I was one of the first brokers that went to New York, LA, Chicago, all these feeder markets. And we started running ads in the New York Post, the Wall Street Journal, and soon it went from 10 deals to 20 deals to 200 deals. 2006, my company was rated number 10 in the nation by the Wall Street Journal. That was slightly below even Keller Williams, which had nationwide offices. And I did it with 8 guys. So I matched up the personality of the guy to the market. Like, for instance, we had a stoner that was handling all the California clients. Laid back, hey, just whatever. Yeah. Then I had, some high-strung New Yorkers that were handling the tri-state area. So that worked out very well, and we built about 2,000 single-family homes that year.
Yeah, wow. In 1 year.
In 1 year, yeah, that was a good ranking. So what we're more proud of, though, was we kind of read the market, and I said, well, supply and demand, this doesn't make sense. I said, investor A was building the house, B would buy it for a $60,000 difference. C would buy it from B. Nobody was living in friggin' houses. Yeah. So it was like, okay, something's gonna happen here. Lehman Brothers actually happened. Stock market takes a 777 dive that day. I was like, guys, sell. 95% of them listened to me. The other 5% should have listened to me. Yeah. And when the market crashed, fortunately, I was very fiscally responsible with my money, and it set up the opportunity for the foreclosure crisis for us to actually even do more volume. So, when back in 2007, everybody was buying planes, trains, automobiles, Ferraris, Lamborghinis, and 2008 when it crashed, I was buying those same $300,000 homes for $30,000, $40,000 because we were direct with the bank. So we did much more volume since that during that foreclosure crisis.
Yeah, that time was wild because I remember my mate, he moved to LA just after then, and I remember him. He bought in cash, obviously. What pre 2008, this house would have been like 1.5 ish market. Sure. Because I bought this for 125K, and then within 4 or 5 years, he's like, all right, that house has gotten back to its price. He goes, sweet, my house just 10x'd in 5 years, which never happens. That's like correct. The rule is what? It doubles. Maybe it's different here, but in Australia, the rule is it's like every 7 years, the value of your house doubles in Sydney.
That was one of so that was another niche. Typically when the states have a crisis, we like to go international, go where the money's at, right? So when the foreclosure crisis happened, I was like, all right, well, we're getting all these deals. We only have so much capital that we can outlay, so let's raise some more capital. So that's when we linked up with an Israeli company. And listen, the Israelis, they're very challenging up front, but once you really get them in a situation where they understand the marketplace and they come with realistic offers. The first experience I had, the Israeli investor, he said, Brid, I give you $10,000 for like $100,000 property. I was like, that's not competitive. I said, we got to be around 80 grand, just for an example. So he's like, okay, we do 80. We go under contract, fully executed contract, title company looks for escrow, calls me the following day, goes, no, let's go 75. I said, but bro, I didn't say bro, but I was like, you can't do that. Yeah. And he goes, I can do anything I want. It's my shekel. It's like, okay, this is going to be a challenge. So we lost that deal, obviously. And then from then on, once he understood it, he started sending more investors. And, we had the opportunity to fly to Tel Aviv and give presentations in Herzliya, Galilee, like all throughout Israel. And to this day, they're still one of our best buyers and best buying groups. And, they can go deep. They've got a lot of capital over there. Yeah,
that's I actually just made a connection with someone who is from there, and it's funny. Like, I see what you mean. Like, I guess that's why, they are so successful, is because they will be super hesitant to understand it. Super, I guess that where the thing of the cheap comes from. They're cheap up front.
They're strategic.
Because they're like, I'm not going to just throw, like, this is hard-earned family money. I'm not going to just throw it away on something I don't understand.
I mean, I have a rule. My CPA has to be Jewish.
Yeah.
it's a rule. It's a thing.
They're fantastic. And that's the thing. I think it's funny how, like, I don't know, this may be just the ignorant Aussie coming out. It's like, it's weird, some of the stereotypes that people attach to even some groups, but it's like the stereotype of the Jewish community, which is, you know, they're cheap, they're this and that. I'm like, yeah, they're also really fucking successful, really driven. 100%. So, I mean, if you're going to call me cheap, but it's like, all right, I'm fucking in a massive house, I'll take the insult.
Like, thank you.
Like, yeah, I'll take it.
And, you know, I mean, and then also we opened up the Australian market. So, you know, you being from Australia, it gave us the opportunity to fly over there, which was really cool.
Yeah.
I was like Jack Hanna going to every single sanctuary, seeing koala bears and wallabies and stuff like that. Like, Did
anyone get you with the drop bear story?
No.
Really? Okay. I already said on the last podcast, so I can't say it again because people get bored. But there's a thing where we bullshit anyone. Usually Americans, because I think they're a little bit ignorant when it comes to Australia. They don't.
Yeah, they think that they're going over there for Foster's beer from Crocodile Dundee, and it's just
and
like
everything's trying to kill us. It's like not really. Florida's more dangerous.
Yeah, 100%.
You know? But yeah, we have this myth of the drop bear, which is like it's basically a koala with rabies. And so you got to be careful walking in the bush because all of a sudden it'll just drop on you and fucking ravish you.
Sounds great.
If an Aussie hears another Aussie telling that story deadpan, because we're very good at sarcasm, that other Aussie will jump in to confirm the bullshit and be like, yeah, absolutely. Like, fucking, if you ever go there, please be careful. And so now you've got this double header, and because it's some random person helping this random Aussie, it sounds believable. But everyone will do it. They're like, yeah, please.
And they spend like drunken pirates. Like, so remember when we were talking about the Israeli, they're strategic, they're you know, close to the vest type of thing. First of all, they called me right off the bat, "You bloody mate." I was like, okay, is that a good thing or bad thing? And like, and from here on out, I was the bloody mate. I was like, okay, well, that's very stereotypical that you're using mate right off the bat and calling me bloody.
Yeah.
And then they started just buying everything in the States, and they were going after luxury properties, and you know their rules were different. I mean, they were more investors just looking for the upside. They weren't looking at the cash flow. They were just looking at you know, upside potential and the dream type of thing. So we were selling Miami stuff. We were selling them Lauderdale stuff. They were great buying group.
It's because so the market in Australia for real estate is completely different to here. First of all, price. My apartment back in Sydney, 2-bedroom, 1 bathroom. Jeez, terrible host. I think every episode my phone goes off, and even though it's on silent, worst host. Like, it might be the #1 podcast here, but it's the fucking worst host. So what was it? Oh yeah. So my apartment, which is 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom. Small laundry, great view. That's it. About 15 minutes from the city, which is everything's really close in Sydney. Like, you tell me something's half an hour away, I'm like, fuck that, dude. No chance.
Meanwhile, it took you 14 hours from LA to get there.
See, flying is our exception because everything driving is close. Like, if Stace, my wife, her and I, every weekend we would drive an hour and a half north or south, and no joke, it's like you go into like Instagram worthy places where there's fuck all people on the beach, you know, and that's an hour and a half away. So we'd get up in the morning, drive, go here to this like remote place, spend the day, beach to ourselves, and then drive back all in one day. So every weekend was like a escape to paradise. Even though Sydney's great in itself, it's just the city life. But yeah, so that apartment was probably before COVID blew up prices, about 1.1 US conversion. Whereas the average house, there's a house at the end of my parents' road, like the street I grew up in. There's a house that just sold, and it'd be 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom maybe, no pool, no garage. What you would get in Florida at the inflated prices for $400,000 maybe. That's the inflated prices for Southwest Florida. That one sold for 3.5 Australian,
just-
which is like 2.8.
It's like Cali.
It's
like
so
Cali.
fucking
It's just
absurd.
completely overinflated.
Yeah. So I look at like $800,000 houses here, and everyone's like, Blake and his expensive house.
Well,
I'm like,
that's-
this is like a $7 million house back home.
And that's why they were just like, oh, Miami, $500,000 for a condo unit.
And I can
we'll
make
buy
a profit.
three. We'll
and
buy
I can
three.
make a profit. That's absurd too.
Right.
Usually, like everything's usually negative geared in Australia. So you buy a house for a tax deduction because you're like, well, I can write off the loss, and as it appreciates across 7 years, that's how I make my money. Whereas here, it's more like a cash flow thing. My understanding in most places, where the rent is more than the mortgage payment, and that's so foreign to us.
Right.
So foreign because
from here on out, you're going to buy, stay here, and you're just going to visit, right?
Yeah, that's the plan. Well, Stacey's really close with her family. They're in West Virginia, but I love West Virginia to visit. It's like Vegas, great to visit.
It's a strange place to migrate from Australia.
Yes, very.
West Virginia.
West Virginia and it's on the border of Ohio and West Virginia, so it's very different to my lifestyle. Like the first time I visited West Virginia, I had my experience of like the most red, white, and blue. And like if I had to basically paint a picture of the most stereotypical event, it was West Virginia, church gathering, shooting guns, and blowing up stuff with tannerite. Like nothing says America.
With a little mix of inbreeding, right?
Not this area. This area is actually really like, it's like the really well-off area. If you go 2 hours south, that's where that place called Odd is. Mm-hmm. And they're renowned for that because they're so remote. But Vienna is where they live, and Vienna is a very nice place.
Nice.
Even like they've got some mansions there where I'm just like, this is in the middle of nowhere.
Cheap too.
Yeah.
Money goes a long way there.
Yes.
You can buy a lot.
Yeah, but even like, the wages is like too, like you can live there on like $40,000 a year.
Sure.
Like you're scraping by, but I mean,
you're still living.
Yeah. Whereas
40 grand anywhere else in Florida. Oh. You're a peasant.
Yeah. This is your home in the office.
That's it.
But
live, work, play in the same studio apartment.
Quite literally, yeah. Well, that was the thing. Is like, and like when you speak to certain people in certain circles, like depending on who I speak to, like. I've been really pumped with what I've done. I've been able to build my business in 12 months, knowing no one. Like I moved here 0 people, and it's now a 6-figure business from knowing no one. But it's funny because I speak to certain people like, "Fuck, that's incredible." I speak to other people like, "You can't really live in Southwest Florida for less than $300,000." You're like,
"That's true."
But it's funny,
and especially if you have an expensive taste.
Yeah, I luckily don't. I reckon 90% of my money goes to business. The other 10%, well, there's family somewhere in there, but Pokemon cards. That's my like.
Okay.
I have a problem, bro. But we'll touch on that later.
Yeah, we'll get into the psyche of you in a little bit.
It's a problem. But yeah, so with the Oz...
Sit on my couch right now. Let's diagnose you.
People come to our house and they're just like, huh? What? They go, you should sell this. I'm like, nah. It's like artwork for me.
Sure.
I grew up with it. So if I spent $3,000 on a painting, most people go, yeah, that makes sense.
Sure.
I spent $3,000 on like 100 and whatever different Pokemon cards, and then they're on the wall. That's
I mean,
thing.
as a kid, I used to was very highly involved in sports. I collected baseball cards, so
this is a baseball card that's 138 years old.
Ooh.
Yeah, I don't collect baseball cards.
You got to put that on lock and key.
Yeah, it's not too bad, but I just saw this one and I was like, it's like 1884, and it's from a deck of cards, and wow. Because they're a deck of cards, they just forever stayed in their packets, and so there's a lot of them pumping around right now.
Would you ever sell your collection?
I'd have.
Is that the game, or is it more just
It started off like that.
To amass a collection.
It started off like, the flip game is fun, and it can be. Like I watch some videos where people go to like a card trading convention. They start with a penny. Like I just saw a video this morning. This girl starts with a penny, and in 2 or 3 hours she has a $300 card just by trading. Not bad appreciation, but I started with that, but then I was like, it was that mixed with nostalgia. I was like, I can make money.
What's the most expensive card you got?
$3,000. But that was probably my dumbest purchase. Like it's depreciated.
Why'd you buy it at 4?
No, I bought it at 3, and it probably could sell for $1,200 now. It was just like I bought at the peak when I first came in emotionally.
Call that the Bitcoin card.
Yeah, but see, Bitcoin, I bought at the peak in 2017, but I'm still up technically.
Oh, good for you.
So, but you know,
I still Bitcoin, crypto.
so it's foreign to you?
I've got some really, really, really smart guys in that industry, and they explain it to me. It's just like check out. It's like,
Yeah.
what you just say? You're mining? What are you mining?
It's weird. I tell people it's like trying to explain the internet to people in the mid 90s.
Right.
You know, like everyone's like, it's a phase. Man, it doesn't make any sense. You'll never buy something on the internet. Why would you ever do that?
See, our play with Bitcoin right now is we're saying, hey guys, most of these sales centers, pre-construction, whatever, you just took a bath, right? They accept Bitcoin, buy a property.
Yeah.
Save the rest of your money.
Yeah.
Or fake money or whatever it is.
Yeah. Well, so the thing with crypto, to my understanding, is the problem is people still view it relative to the dollar. Whereas when you're in the actual crypto space, one Ethereum is one Ethereum if it goes up and down.
You guys keep going into the space. What space? What?
Well, so on the actual, okay, I'll try to do like a real-time example. Here, if I go to Mexico, you can use American dollars because it's kind of expected. You go to Europe and Americans take American dollars, they go, fuck off.
Yeah, true.
So it's worthless over there. It's the same thing just in the crypto space. You know, in the fiat system, you've got the banks that validate whether or not a dollar is a dollar, which even that's kind of shonky sometimes, you know, like the fact that I can just send you on Venmo and you're trusting this bank is like, yeah, you've got that make-believe thing now.
Yeah, all right.
So whereas with the blockchain, it's like the systems they have involved is like the system itself sort of, it validates it and you've got multiple people with ledgers because of the amount of computers that are mining really is just more like they're figuring out math equations, but they're also the ones that are propping up the system. So I've got, you know, say there's 3 computers, I've got one, you got one, and you know, Bob has one. Each transaction that we do between us, all 3 of us jot it down. So if you try and like cheat it, Bob and I are like, that's not what we've got. And so as like the reason the value is going up and up and up and you can't mine as much is because there's so many computers on the system now. So if you try and fake it, you've got a few thousand that are documenting the ledger.
Do you truly understand anything you just said?
Yeah. I watch Crypto for Dummies. I watch crypto,
right.
You know?
Maybe I should start there.
Yeah,
Get that nice little yellow
Literally
book, Crypto
YouTube,
for Dummies.
Crypto for Dummies. But that's how it kind of backs it up. And then again, you go in there and you trade it with the currency that's in that space.
And now I heard it's all about how much power you have.
Power. You mean power for like computers?
For the mining purposes.
Electricity?
Right.
Yeah, it's always been like that. It's just, again, as it's gotten more complex, more people in the system, like it needs more because you've got more competition. So
we have a partner that we're opening up a couple different ventures. He gets it. I'll rely on him.
Yeah.
I'll just say, hey man, wire some real money to close on this, that, and the other, and we're good.
It's one of those things like you look back and like, fuck, you could mine a Bitcoin on a laptop back in 2010, 2011, and that money now would be worth $200,000.
Sure.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Could have just had my MacBook doing the job.
There you go.
But yeah, no, that's a fascinating space. So it's good you're on it. I'm fascinated by it.
Surround yourself with people that understand each and every sector, right?
Do you understand NFTs at all?
Absolutely not. At first, I was like, "What the hell is this NFL? NFL? Like, no, it's an NFT and it's artwork." I was like, "Oh, okay, that's nice.
Yeah,
good for you."
It's the weirdest thing because I know everyone's like, "Oh, it's a screenshot." Like, I'll just screenshot it. The funny thing is, and this is where your brain doesn't know the difference. I bought an NFT. I got excited. I'm like, "Oh, I own this." It's just because, it's like, you can't fight your programming in your body.
Sure.
And so it wasn't until I sort of, again, I was just testing it to see it. And I was just like, oh, I get it now. Like, I know I own it. I know someone can screenshot. Like, you can have fake
You
cards.
own what, though? What do you own?
You own the artwork and you know the rights to it. So there's also this other thing where you can actually start stuff and have royalties, which you can't really do. So say, for example, this, like in real life, if I sold this to you and then you sold it to someone else, I don't get shit.
Sure.
But on the blockchain, it's like if I sold it to you and then you sell it to someone else, I actually get a royalty from it.
Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a weird space. But honestly, 15 years from now, I think people will look at it like they look at the internet now.
Sure.
It's just a matter of application. But
Well, hopefully it recovers. It's definitely a order,
2020,
Now it's
2025.
time to acquire.
Yeah, 2025. That's my prediction.
There you go.
It's the same sort of
You heard it
trends.
here.
Yeah, and if I'm wrong, fuck you guys.
If you're wrong, hedge it with a few more Pokemon cards, right?
Exactly. Pokemon. Why does everyone think it's Pokemon?
Pokemon.
I get very offended.
Heard that.
I'm very offended. I turn left wing. all of a sudden.
Apologies. Will never happen again.
Yeah. So you also have Taco Works.
Yes.
That's new?
Yes.
Yeah.
So, the hospitality industry has always been of high interest for me. It's a very rough industry. It's you can have the best concept, but then have all these different moving pieces. You can have a chef that doesn't feel good that day, and just you could have servers that don't perform. You have so many different moving pieces. So a strong management system is obviously key and paramount. You can have the best concept, best food in the world, and somebody can screw it up for you.
Yeah.
With that said, align yourself with great partners. So Taco Works was not my idea. It was an investment that I thought was a minimal investment. We took over a second generation space, full kitchen, the whole 9 yards. And my two partners, Max and Ozzy, just geniuses. They see the concept of Taco Works. At first, I didn't even get it. They're like, well, it's not a taqueria. It's not a Mexican, traditional taco thing. I'm thinking, let's do all the little skulls and, the tequila bottles and this, that, and the other. I said, that's not it. It's purposely unauthentic. So they have a Chicago beef taco. They have a Philadelphia cheesesteak taco. They have, we have just a wide variety of different things that make us different. And I personally believe that it is definitely franchisable. So we are looking for our second space in downtown Fort Myers, and we want to have some presence in the Bonita market as well. So, we'll see how it goes. But right now it's going fantastic, and, they're hard workers. They're ultimately the perfect partner because they've got skin in the game. They know what they're doing. They read the market correctly, we're priced correctly, and we're busy. Yeah,
that's cool. And is it? I mean, I've only seen some photos, but is it similar to like it's almost like a hole in the wall? So that's like one of its benefits of. I kind of like it. Like I love hole in the walls where it's like you have to eat outside.
It's got a little hole in the wall feel.
Yeah.
We don't want to be too corporate yet. We don't want to make it look like a Chipotle. Still have that little.
I don't like Chipotle, so that's fine.
Correct. And then once you actually get to that, I think it's like 50th location, then you have to start putting your calories on the menu and stuff like that.
So you don't have to do that before that.
They're probably not the most healthy tacos, but they're good.
Yeah, that calorie thing always cracks me up. I had 2 things the other day, and I was like, I just had 2,500 calories.
Oof.
Yeah, I'm a fatty. But
you're all right.
So it's 50. So 50 locations you have to have.
I think it's,
Interesting.
and then all of a sudden you have to operate to a whole different standard. So.
Is that because it's some sort of like corporate responsibility? You get roped into some sort of
100%
level.
100%.
Interesting.
Then you really need a really good corporate attorney.
Yeah. America loves their guns and their lawyers.
That's right. Which, you need. It's if you don't have a good one, you're not in a leveraged position.
Yeah. Interesting. And so are you looking at any time soon to open up the second, or is it proof of concept?
we're just obviously looking for the right space and the right, we want to be in an area that has high walkability, and Southeast Cape is really truly the type of the downtown metropolitan. It's growing and growing and growing and growing. And, investment real estate, we're very familiar on the residential side. We put in about 650 single family homes this past year in the northeast section. So we even like actually a possible expansion up in the northeast, northwest. We just love the, we already know what's going on, obviously, from the residential sector. So Cape is booming. It's going to be a little price correction there, but, long term, we feel that it's a great market for hospitality, great market for residential, great market just for any type of long term commercial hold as well.
Yeah. So Cape Coral, you think is it getting younger?
Well, it used to be called Cape Coma, of course, home of the newlywed and nearly dead, and it's definitely the average age demographic has come down. It's becoming more of a, it's a really good rental. So most of our clients are build to rent clients. So they build property, pre-construction, place a tenant. They're, Robert Kiyosaki train of thought. They cash flows king type of thing. They're not appreciation, capital growth, potential players. That's a nice thing, but that's not their primary focus. So what we're seeing with Cape is we're seeing that it's the affordable bedroom community where it's, access to I-75 is key. So we're seeing like more of that northeast section is being flooded with professional tenants, people that their jobs being relocated, they're from wherever. They're now actually going to try out this marketplace, see how moving to Southwest Florida is. So they want quick access to I-75 because their jobs in Fort Myers, their jobs in Naples. So we're seeing a lot of younger people now transition to that northeast, northwest Cape Coral sector.
Gotcha. Yeah, cool. Yeah, because that was my concern when I was moving here. I was like, the average age is like 67.
Yeah.
Sydney's average age is 33.
It's it's a complete, when you take a look at the East Coast versus West Coast of Florida, two completely different, beasts.
Yeah. East Coast is wild though.
East Coast is wild. I mean, Miami is going to be the next Vegas if you take a look at all the growth, and it's finally coming to, like, for instance, Brickell. Brickell always was supposed to be the southern New York City to South America, and now it's finally coming to fruition. Like, South Beach is you got a little ghetto, South Beach. And now you're seeing that all the big players, all the big restaurant operators, all the nightlife guys, all of the big tech, financial community, they're all going to Brickell. And they're signing 10-year leases. So you see that everything, you don't see any new projects or big projects or notable projects in South Beach. So it's just, seeing these niches and trends is fascinating for us and very important, a part of our research where we direct our investors' monies.
Yeah. Yeah, what happened with South Beach? South Beach is like, I mean, it's wild, but I'm like,
riff-raff.
Yeah, I'm too scared to get out of the car. And like,
I mean, you're fine if you go, in the Fontainebleau area, in the 40 block range in Collins, and then you're fine if you go south of 5th. That's very, very high price real estate, high price condos, probably the highest price per square foot on the East Coast. But if you go right in, sandwiched in between, take your life in your hands. Yeah,
especially if you're there at night. I remember we drove down there because we had a hotel near there, or it was like just north of South Beach, like slightly, and we had to do that, the good old, you miss one turn, then you're trapped because you can't do a single U-turn. Yeah. And I'm driving through, I'm like, man, this place is wild. Like, I didn't feel bad in the car, but I was just like, it's the same as like back home. We used to have this street called King's Cross.
A bit.
Yeah, that was wild, that place.
Very wild.
That since is like being completely just fucked up. I don't know if you heard about, I would have been about when I was 24. So I worked in bars from like 19 till about 24. And I say like our age group got the prime time because when I turned 19, because we can party at 18 and drink at 18, sure. Smoking got banned in venues when I was about 18. Perfect timing. Great. I'm not in a cloud of smoke when I'm in a nightclub. Right. And then by the time I turned about 21, 22, this massive like focus on glassing, like people get in a bar fight and they'd smash a glass on your face, which is just like, it was this trend where it was, because you smash it and then what happens is it cuts through your face and just, it fucks your face up. So there was this trend of that and the media took hold of it. They introduced, it was lockout laws, basically was what they called it. And all these venues, if they were in the city or in the King Cross area by midnight, which is insane. Midnight, you couldn't let people in the door anymore.
So it was a curfew.
Yeah. And then by 1:30, it's like you had to be shut. But this is where like it was not even conspiracy. It's like so blatant. The line at which those regulations happened, because remember, it literally, the line went up just to where the casino was.
Ooh.
And the casino wasn't in the boundary. And
Little strategy
a
there.
little bit, because then what happened was everyone that wanted to sell party would go to the casino. It's just going to happen. And the thing that the benefit had with the casino had the benefit, because I had friends that worked there. The nightclub, the security guards' roles were with whenever there was a fight or something, the goal was get the people out and down and into the casino, because now it's a casino thing, not a nightclub thing, and they can stop those black dots.
Feeders.
Yeah, and the beauty about the casino is it's so large that you can sort of slow down the cops. And then so when it really got exposed, when they started building Barangaroo, which was technically within the boundaries of the city, but because they were building an extra part, like they basically extended the island, that wasn't included. So like you had this dot that went around that new casino. Everyone's like, fucking come on. And then by the time the casino opened, they were like, do you know what? We're going to lift these restrictions now after 4 years of fucking up the whole area.
I like how these guys operate.
They were just like, it was like, you guys are so, because in that time, literally they killed the nightlife.
Sure.
Because no one could stay open. Like they couldn't sustain it. And then King's Cross now is borderline dead. And you got a few like strip clubs that survived. But then what happened was all the developers came in and bought all these places. And now it's like, all right, it's gone.
It's just weeded out.
Yeah. And it was just fun seeing how they manipulated the stats and stuff. They're like, the violence is down 50%. It's like, but foot traffic's down 95%. So it's not really that much of a win.
You get a good developer, somebody in the media, a good attorney. There you go. That's all you need.
Yeah, that's all you need. So, yeah, no, the nightlife in Sydney is kind of just shot, unfortunately. But that's what South Beach reminded me of, was King's Cross. Because you do walk through King's Cross when it was in its heyday.
That's true.
And you kind of are like, fuck, this is not good.
And if they ever bring gaming to Miami, that's going to be more on that Brickell side. So that would be the game changer. That
what's
is
gaming?
Casino.
Oh, casino.
Yeah.
So because that's not legal, is it?
Shoddy. But if they do pass that, then it's going to hurt Vegas because Brickell has literally everything that that's going on behind the scenes points to the fact that they're going to be a big player to Vegas and even more so New York as well. So
in Brickell,
we love we're highlighting 3 or 4 different projects over there, and we really feel confident long term about its viability and its price per square foot potential.
Interesting, because New York just legalized gambling, didn't they?
True.
Yeah,
but New York that's another thing. Yeah,
well,
we
prostitution.
love.
I think they legalized too. Like, hey, shout out to New York,
too.
man.
God bless. Right?
I'm married, so I'm not a customer.
No, but we love to. Right now we're seeing just the blue state thing. It's a thing. It's a feeder to Florida in general. Anywhere in Florida, everybody they ask all the time. Well, is Florida going to be independent from any type of price correction with interest rates up and recession looming and so on and so forth? And I just make the analogy all the time that Florida is on a quarter zone right now. Quarter zone will eventually wear off, but we have so much end user demand and so much real cash in play, not highly leveraged loans, things of that nature. So we're not going to see a foreclosure crisis here, but we're still we're not completely independent from the economy. So we're probably going to see about a 20% correction. That's my my guess. But it's more of an educated guess based off of what we're seeing with just multiple listing service and price reductions and the sheer amount of inventory that's hitting the marketplace. Is a Cape Coral property off water really worth $450,000? No, it's not. So it's gonna correct to what it's really is. $399 the thing? Is that the price? I think so. So we'll see a little correction. But we're not going to see anything in any way, shape, or form like we saw in 2008. Yeah,
that's interesting because you're probably one of the first people that actually has said that in the space. And I know there's usually a little bit of bias when you're in the space
Of course.
of it. But because I mean, this is my limited knowledge. I'm sort of dabbling a little bit in finding out like wholesaling and stuff. It's just more, I got some friends and I was like, I mean, I'll learn it in between everything else.
Affordable housing is key right now.
Yeah.
Affordable. Just get as low as you possibly can go because there's really, really, really large. I think just in Southwest Florida alone, there's a need for 4,000 units of affordable housing. Now, what's the definition of affordable housing? My definition is 250 and below. So we're working with our developers on, hey, can we actually do this little 1,000 square foot home in Lehigh Acres?
Yeah.
Can we get something in the hundreds? Can we get something in the 150 range, 190? So we're playing around, and that's and just call it what it is. The name of the floor plan is the Recession Buster. I don't care.
Yeah.
Just give them create a product that you need. In any type of market, there's always a need for real estate. So one of a lot of realtors that are in this industry, and they see a market that is going down, and they say, well, we can't do anything. Well, what do you mean? That's we love down markets. Down markets are the best market for us. We actually do even more volume because we have a database of developers, investors that are looking to buy during these down markets. So we're even more busy, and it's. I mean, I don't want the market to crash, but I like this market.
Yeah.
It was too high. It was nobody could. It was too competitive. So we were just basically building pre-construction. I was even off of that whole foreclosure, acquisition, renovation, disposition model because there was just not enough room and equity and fat in the deal.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. Because my theory, again, super limited understanding. You're the pro here. Was because in down here, most people, from what I was hearing from most realtors, was people were buying, like it was New York and Chicago money coming down here, and they were buying 50% to 100% down payments on. If it was a 50%, it was only on like a 1% to 2% interest rate,
right?
And that's why they're like it. They were saying like the houses here were, it was kind of America wide, which is kind of weird. Like I know a guy from Australia who does stuff similar to you. He finds investors in Australia who can put up the cash, and then they make 10 to 20% on their money, cash on cash.
Preferred partner return.
Yeah, so he does it in Detroit, but he was like, even Detroit was going like Florida in terms of, he's like, this house is probably 120 grand. He put it up for 140, and then he'd sell it for 150 a week later. And so the what I was hearing from some people, they go, the prices aren't going to dip too much, but what will happen is the 30 to 60 day closing rate will come back.
Agreed.
And then it will flatten out.
Agreed.
So you're the first one that's actually said a 20% correction. Could
be in other markets, could be up to 30%, but it's natural. It's healthy. It's the person that basically just got in and is speculating that they're going to make 150 grand. Bro, if you make 50, 60 grand in this type of marketplace, God bless.
Yeah.
Don't be greedy.
Yeah, that's
just do a high volume of deals, and I'm all about the volume game, and and just slightly pricing your properties below market value has always been a successful thing for us.
Okay. So the way I came across you was hilarious. It was from an ad for the penthouse or whatever your development for 65 million or something. In Miami.
The Aston Martin.
Yeah.
Such a gorgeous, such an ostentatious project. I love it.
As soon as I saw the number, I was just like, that's not a house? I'm like, damn.
So it's funny. I reverse prospect the profile of people. Mm-hmm. And I was like, you know what? Let me actually just DM. I had no clue, never met the guy, but, I made it look like hey, we know the same people, so on and so forth. I sent the penthouse to Dan Bilzarian's DM.
Oh, really?
Didn't respond to me.
Yeah.
But I think I know why he didn't respond to me. He just got married. Because is that like
is that real though?
A 65, 60 whatever $1 million triplex? Like that's the ultimate bachelor pad. You would screw up the whole HOA. Would hate you because you put Dan Bilzarian in the penthouse. So that would reduce all the class that the Aston Martin brand basically just trying to achieve there. But
so it's an Aston Martin building, is it?
it is. So basically all the luxury brands right now. If you're Porsche, you're Aston Martin, you're Baccarat, you're building a high rise now.
Really?
That's the thing. So they do like a licensing deal. So they're not the developer per se. They basically get a portion of whatever to use their name, and it's an arms race right now of every single luxury brand wants to be in the high rise business.
Yeah.
So Cipriani, the Italian restaurant, they're building a tower. And it's just, I
So they're
like
following the Trump model, really.
That's right.
Put your logo on it.
And I love the fact that everybody's just trying to, well, your amenity package is this and ours is this, and they're all just improving the overall design, architecture, amenity package. I mean, some of these places are just absolutely gorgeous. So, guys, keep competing.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, it's a wild looking place. You get a free Aston Martin as well, don't you?
You do.
I mean, quotation marks free.
I mean, if you're mobilizing that type of amount of money, then I don't think the cars are going to be your problem. I think you can afford a car.
Yeah. So Bilzarian got married? I thought that was just some shitty post that he did. You never know
with him. I mean, first
it felt like a Jake Paul wedding.
Don't you believe that he's probably going to get divorced very soon?
I think.
I mean, she's got to be a real cool chick.
If it is legit, she has to be like a Hugh Hefner girl, like where they're like, all right, I'm marrying you, but I'm not really. It's more just.
I know I'm going to be one of the 10.
For the week,
thing.
Right? That guy slays, man. Oh my god, he's the modern day Hugh Hefner.
Yeah,
Dan Bilzarian is the modern day Hugh Hefner.
That's correct.
Except, but he's ripped as fuck. Have you ever watched his podcasts and stuff that he has?
I mean,
interesting dude.
So we do know him through a friend of a friend, and I mean, first of all, the guy beats up his body. It has to be roids. I mean, there's no way
I don't think he denies that though.
Yeah, I mean, but lots of roids because he's cut. And the type of,
and his shoulders
benders that he goes on and everything else, like, I don't know, man. Did you ever go to a cardiologist and just a normal checkup?
Yeah. He's so funny. I remember watching his interview with Rogan, and it's the most interesting thing because he doesn't even brag. He's just like, yeah, this is life, Sure. And like one of his stories was how he wanted to see if he could hook up with a girl who doesn't speak a lick of English. And he's just like, I just want to see how it goes. And that was one of his, like life for him, by and large, is just a video game.
It's just a challenge.
Yeah.
It's like, what have I not done before?
Literally, yeah. And I think we're all kind of like that. I don't know if you saw on my social media, I'm doing like a drag race at Cycle Bar in 2 weeks. I was just like, what's something random and just see if it's like, again, like, I mean, all my wife's family from West Virginia, they're just like, what's he doing? And then even to the point where my wife was like, do you want to dress like that, Blake? I'm like, no. Lipstick, eyeshadow, wig. I'm like, fucking, do you know how, it's annoying, let alone in Florida, I'm like, even if I wanted to do it, it's no. But
you're on the wrong coast.
Yeah.
As well.
But it was just like, I don't know. I was like, all right, I want to test it to see about like garnering attention for a event.
That'll definitely do it.
And yeah, or it won't.
I'll move the dial or move something.
Yeah. But like, it was just that trying something that I haven't done before. And it's like, it's kind of funny because it's kind of blowing out even bigger now where we're like, well, we'll have a live podcast around the corner straight after it in Mercado, and like, how do we figure that part out? It's,
nice.
I think the wanting to do something you haven't done before, especially when you're something on Dan Bilzarian's level where you've done so much.
Well, you got to be creative. People have very short attention spans, and anything that you do has to reach the customer within 5 seconds.
Yeah.
If it's over 5 seconds, you lose their attention, and you got to do some creative stuff in order to, I love the marketing game. Fortunately, we have a lot smarter people than me on the marketing front that handle the marketing for us. So, I love the creativity and just doing something different.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny too, because it's so hard to get people's attention. People don't realize that. That's why I always tell my clients, I'm like, I'm not going to create content you like. I'm going to create content your people want to see.
Correct.
And that's the biggest thing that people really struggle to get across. And even a guy recently, I said to him, and I tell people, I'm like, look, I'm going to tell you exactly how I feel without an impulse, because I'm going to tell you what I'm thinking with my fingers and my thumbs. And I do the same with me. I'm like, oh, that was shit. But I said to this guy, I was like, because he asked me, he goes, what's your impression from my content? And I go, to be honest, the raw stuff, I can see who you are and you're friendly and you're approachable. The professional stuff you're trying to do currently, it's kind of standoffish. He goes, what do you mean? And I go, and it's not even because of you. It's the angle you're using. Mm-hmm. You've shot it too professional for Instagram, for starters. And the way it's color graded is really, it's too noir. And
you hit it with 18 different filters.
Well, this was professionally done. So they'd done a high contrast on it. They'd done, a certain lighting things were kind of a bit too much that didn't suit his personality. But then also just how it was edited, it was like, I said to him, I'm like, it comes across very confrontational, where I feel intimidated. Yeah. But that's not you as a human.
Right.
And he was like, huh? And then it was funny because
you offended me.
No, the opposite. It was. I think that's that thing. It's like, when you're surrounded by people who want to be polite, like, what do you think is content? It's great. Yeah. Because he actually then went into his office after he spoke. He goes, so Blake gave me this feedback, and they're like, yeah, that's kind of true, because I'd given them permission to actually tell him the thing versus like, is this good? Yeah, it's great. Which we get trapped into. Absolutely. And you always have to preface it.
You got to play a little politics.
Yeah. I'm terrible at politics. I'm just like, hey, this is what I'm thinking.
I noticed.
Yeah. But I don't know. It's like, I think that's why it's a blessing and a curse sometimes.
Well, marketing is completely changed. It's just that institutional print advertising. Nobody does print anymore. Print is if you're like a Geico, you put it's whatever. It's maintain the brand. It's not going to lead towards an actual sale. So we're launching because we believe it's a perfect time to. Always wanted to do it. So we're launching a luxury real estate division, Cozza Realty Group now, when the market is a little soft, because the reason why the timing is everything is because we want to use our experience, because even luxury real estate is an investment. So buy right. By at the correct time. So we're doing it a little bit different, where we're using the experience factor to, our 20 years of operation under Cozza Investment Group to basically enter this marketplace. Now, from a marketing standpoint, we want to do something different. So what I do not like in the traditional real estate field is everybody's IG. And I should not say everybody, but the most trained agents typically will actually put just listed, just sold, just listed, just sold, just listed, sold. It's boring.
Or a photo of them walking down the street looking good in a suit.
Boring. Like, bro, that's why you have 3 likes. That's why you have 10 followers. Do something different. So we teamed up with Rafael Feliciano from Main Course Hospitality. He's a partner with Cozza Realty Group, marketing partner. And, our feed is going to be us going out to dinner, us actually going fine dining, us actually going to these high rises, talking about the personality of the agent. That's what's going to go on the main page because it's interesting. Yeah. It's going to be like a TV show. And then, of course, just a show that we perform, maybe you put the whole just listed on a story or something like that to show that, hey, yeah, we're still making a splash here. But nobody wants to see that on your main page. No. Stupid things like that. It's a difference of connecting to a different buyer or a different investor or a developer or whatever.
Yeah, and everything, like, people want to be entertained, and like I've touch wood, because I've been telling realtors that for the last few months. I'm like, I don't give a fuck. You know, I'm like, if I get a new client and I post it on mine,
Right.
do you guys care? They're like, oh,
Right.
not really. I go, so why would I care that you just sold a house?
Right.
And they're like, huh. And I go, do you know what I do care about? I want to snoop through the houses.
Sure.
I want to have a look. I want to be like, ooh, what's this? Like, you know, but I also want to hear if something isn't good, or if you as a human would change something.
Mm-hmm.
Because, I mean, the typical example I use is like, we're staying at the in-laws' house at the moment, their vacation home, and it's just off Hickory Boulevard, and that Bonita Beach Road to 41 in busy season, that
Horrible.
That 8-minute drive turns into sometimes, 25, 30. Like, my prime example is like, if you're selling a house there, you should, in your content, be like, this is a great place, blah, blah, blah. Something just to keep in mind is, if you're driving, during busy season, this road does get blacked up because the beach is very popular, that it might add probably 15 to 20 minutes to your drive. Even emotionally, I'm so emotionally connected to the beach. I'm like, that's fine. Then when I get there, but also
That goes back to the whole Sydney.
I've built this
you're
trust.
used to this.
Yeah, I've built this trust with you because you're not just saying it's fucking great. You're giving me all the things to consider, but I'm so emotionally attached to the beach that I bypass that. It's like a Ferrari.
Right.
No one rationally buys a Ferrari.
That's correct.
But
It's a passion purchase.
exactly. But I know that, like, from my father-in-law's experience, when he was here last busy season, he's like, I've worked my whole life to live by the beach, and it sucks. But he I can guarantee he would have made that emotional leap, even if someone said, just a heads up, it'll be an extra 20 minutes.
Absolutely.
You know?
You're absolutely right.
So, but I think people are so afraid to do that stuff. Here's what might, just consider this. Because they think that's going to scare people away. It's like, no, you got to look at the one thing that is motivating them.
That's right.
Outlay all the other things that they're going to emotionally jump over anyway.
That's right.
Or it might at least stop them to think, but they've built that trust.
You gotta get people excited for them to mobilize. Like, even investment real estate. If you take a look at a duplex and you send a spreadsheet, okay, the numbers work, and of course it is about the numbers. Numbers don't lie, and that's what motivates. But if you do something different and you get them excited about the pre-construction phase, and you show concrete block going up and a time lapse and stuff like that, they're like, oh, this is kind of cool too. Like, and that's what gets the people on the fence over that finish line and be able to commit. So
because you're telling a story of the house as well.
100%. I mean, you make them feel like they're part of the construction site, and they're like, oh, that's a thing.
Yeah.
So and we train our agents a little bit differently. So when you take a look at your traditional brick and mortar, not to name names, but like a Century 21 or a Remax, whatever, they'll train you on how to write a contract and all that stuff, which of course we have to do.
Yeah.
I'm a broker and it's my license, so we've got to make sure they know how to write a contract. But it's we do it differently, where we're teaching that person some buzzwords, how to actually act as a human being, how to
kind of important.
create rapport with a developer, how to speak to a developer, how to dress. I mean, how to present yourself. How do you meet wealthy people?
Yeah.
Because ultimately, that's really what it is. Especially investment real estate and luxury real estate. How many wealthy people do you know? Do you know 5 people? Well, they know another 5 people. And how do you meet other wealthy people? I tell this story all the time. We were, myself, my girlfriend, we were at the Biltmore pool. So just throwing the football to random people. I know that sounds kind of weird, but there was a football in the pool. So we're just throwing. So all of a sudden I threw it to a gentleman, and he came over and he said, well, what do you do? Like, investment real estate. He goes, oh, so me. Same with me. And come to find out, he literally transformed Aventura. And he was Jeff Sofer from Fontainebleau. He was his right-hand asset manager, Mark Porge from Porge Real Estate. And, this is a guy that I was like, wow, I always wanted to meet you because I get spammed by your emails and everything else. And sure enough, we're now doing a couple deals in Naples right now, and all because we just went to the Biltmore pool and was just throwing the football. It was like, guys, instead of going to, and this is what we tell our agents, instead of going to the dive bars on the weekend, stuff like that, go to the Ritz-Carlton pool. Go to the Breakers pool. Like, just go and meet somebody and just start talking about who you are. That's how you create connections, and that's how you instead of floor time, we should have pool time. We should have an agent of Cozza Realty Group in every single wealthy pool, every 7 days a week.
Yeah.
It's out of the box type of lead generation techniques is what we train our guys and girls.
Yeah, well, that's cool because, I mean, I think that's something that people struggle with too. It's like, if the more you live life, it actually opens up shit.
That's right.
Because, chilling at a pool at the Ritz, not a bad weekend.
Not a bad.
And if you get dividends from it,
that's right. That's
even
right.
better weekend.
Whatever. make the wealthy guy pay for your cocktails.
Yeah. It's funny though, because a lot of people don't. I mean, it also. It's hard, because you need to have that mindset too, where you are kind of always on, but you're still aloof enough that you're not always on.
True.
It's that juggle. I always say, like, it's kind of like you got two brains going on. You got the one at the front, which is the one that's on presentation, but the one at the back that's just like, all right, hold on, how do I, this is my long-term game in whatever it is. That's a hard thing to teach.
It is.
But I think it's also practice.
It's difficult for me to turn off any of it because it's a natural habit. It's always like, hey, who are you? Networking and proper networking, like not going to those little networker events that everybody has a business card and I hate those.
As soon as someone hands out a business card straight away, I'm like, all right, not interested.
I intentionally say I do not have business cards.
Yeah. I've just got a QR code thing on my wallet and I'm like, I like you. Boom, here's all my details. And
then, you go to these networking events and they pass out business cards and they don't even know how to strike a conversation. It's like you have that awkward moment where you're just like an elevator moment, like, okay, and then what? Now what do we do here? Okay, bye. It's
like the girl at a bar that asks you for a drink and you're like, do you know my name?
Right.
I did that in LA once.
Well, I'm okay with that. If they're going to buy me a drink.
I'm a cunt. I'm a cunt. No, like... with this girl in LA, I remember, because in Australia, me buying you a drink, it's not as like buying a girl a drink. It's not as like America. It's kind of like, in order for you to talk to a girl, you need to buy a drink.
True.
Whereas Australia, it's not like that at all. But I remember when I first went to LA, and this girl literally just walks up and she goes, "Hey, how you going?" I'm like, "I'm good." She goes, "You want to buy me a drink?" I'm like, "What's my name?" She goes, "What do you mean?" I go, I don't even know your name, mate.
So you were kind of like the chick.
No. She was like, can I buy her a drink?
Oh.
I'd let her buy me a drink, but she asked, can I buy her a drink? And I was like, I don't even know who you are.
See, I already actually I like this. I know. I would like to see where that went.
I'll take it. Yeah, free drinks. But no, and then like she looked at me like I was a dick. And I'm like, but I don't know you, love. And you're in dark lighting right now. I don't even know if I find you attractive.
Right.
I'm really like...
Let's catch you at high noon. Let's see if there's any type of... And I'm not going off of your Instagram with your 25 filters.
Yeah. Well, this was 2012. This was when Instagram just first came out. And the Instagram filters were not flattering.
It was probably still MySpace days.
It was... 2012. MySpace, it died when I was in year... 12. So last year of school when I was about 18.
Gotcha.
That's when Facebook started flipping a little bit. But then Instagram came a couple of years later. Man, MySpace days, huh?
Never had an account.
Really?
It was Facebook first, then IG.
Really? So you went just straight to the second
No
drive.
Snapchat. I know
Snapchat
about it.
Snapchat was just for fun, like flirting.
And TikTok, we're going to have one because, look, TikTok is a huge, it's a really effective tool for people selling multi-million dollar places. It's a way to connect to these famous YouTubers and fellow TikTokers. These kids are flush with money at 18.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're buying $20 million places.
Yeah.
So
well, the baby just made $52 million last year.
So
at
I told one of our agents that he's starting his real estate career. I said, everybody's got a sphere of influence. I said, you are obsessed with TikTok. You're always on TikTok. Do you know TikTokers that have 8 million plus followers? He goes, yeah, I got 50. I was like, give me a spreadsheet, give me a list, and start pitching some stuff to these TikTokers. You know, do it maybe a little bit interesting, whatever, and get it out there. I mean, maybe that's your niche. You're the director at TikTok, whatever, for Cozza Realty Group. See what happens.
Yeah. Are you looking into YouTube Shorts as well?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to.
Those are the two that are really popping now.
You have to be, you know, full. If you're going to make a big splash, you have to be on all those channels, all those media outlets. I mean, that's the way to reach people. Again, magazines are dead. Websites, you have to have one. It's social media is the way to connect.
Yeah. And it is. That's what I'm getting a lot of people across the line now is they think it's just for young kids, but I'm like, but you're on it.
No, I know.
You're 40.
I know.
You know,
I know people in their 60s that you can't get them off of IG. They're literally glued to it. So sometimes I have to DM my clients because they're not answering my phone call. So I'm DMing them. It's like, yo, I saw you just saw my story. Like, come on, talk to me. So it's a new way to shift and of course if you're using these antiquated lead generation techniques, you're just going to get crushed. I mean, you're going to spend so much money in marketing when you don't have to if you just follow the trends. Yeah,
and it's cool too because you can have a lot of touch points with people. You can, so because that's one thing that we've noticed is now it's like if I do reach out to someone and DM them, they know who we are 100%.
Sure.
Because they're like, obviously if you get a DM to someone, you can be like, who the fuck is this person messaging me? And now it's like, oh, I know 100% who this guy is. Hey, not interested, or yeah, let's meet, And that happens in all the industries.
Didn't you DM me?
I DM'd you.
There you go.
Yeah, I slid in the DMs.
That's how it worked.
Yeah.
It slid.
Yeah. But again, it's like, same with Josh Marzuko, I DM'd him up, but
Josh is a good friend.
He's a legend. It was so funny. But same thing. It was like, people go, how'd you get him on? I'm like, I DM'd him. And he went to my page and he realized
and
I'm
then
not
I
some
say this
fucking idiot.
out of 100% respect. Josh loves to talk about himself, though. So, I mean,
don't we all, though? Don't we all? That's
and I love Josh.
That's kind of why I made this podcast, It's an excuse for me to talk about myself more.
Right.
But it is that thing where I think people are missing the point where it's like, I want... not just for me, but for everyone else that, people should know who you are within a couple of seconds, or at least be intrigued, be like, oh, this is interesting. Sure. Swipe to the next one. But if they're hiding behind just photos,
right?
Like, I think I said it to the realtor that's jumping on board. I said to him, like, all due respect, you're a buff dude right now. Just photos, you look like a fuckboy. I go, you need the videos to break through that. I'm the same. If I was just photos, they'd be like, he's probably just a little slutty boy.
Right.
But the videos then translate that relationship where they're like, oh, I know all the ways he moves, the way he talks.
It shows a little personality.
Yeah.
You gotta show the personality, and you're not gonna get that from just a still image.
Nah. Especially if you're just in a suit walking down the street.
I get it. Looking all staged.
Yeah, that cracks me up. So you're doing, what's your strategy with like the big mansions that you're looking into, like the luxury?
So, it's some of it is basically, fake it till you make it type of thing, to open up different doors. People, if we market other people's multi-million-dollar listings, people in the industry, they get it. Like, okay, we know what they're doing. But some of the general public, most of the general public, they're like, oh, wow, you got a $65 million listing at the Aston Martin.
Yep.
I'm marketing it for Cervera, which Cervera, they're a huge ally of ours. We've been selling their pre-construction projects for years, roughly about 15 years. But, it opens up a conversation, and then all of a sudden, I don't care if that $65 million listing leads towards a $2 or $3 million listing. Okay. It opens up conversation. So you'll be seeing with Cozza Realty Group, you're going to be seeing some really high-end listings that hopefully will lead towards those agents actually procuring those listings. But it gets the conversation going, and it gets our agents really involved in the passion of selling real estate.
Yeah.
Because you got to be passionate about it. If you're not passionate about it, you're not going to sell shit.
Yeah. So you're just basically going to be going to other listings, making videos for them, you
At
mean?
first, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's so funny. I had the same idea and I'm been working in that in progress. I don't even want to do real estate. I just want to walk through the houses and show people.
Right.
That's so funny. You and I have the same idea.
It's it doesn't suck. I mean, I was just in a $31 million penthouse that was 3 stories, and this thing was just so ostentatious. It was delicious.
Yeah. And it's cool to walk through and show people that.
Right. And again, that's a networking event. So it was a broker's open. Took a couple of our new agents there, and were we going to go there and sell a $31 million penthouse? No, but we actually picked up 3 developer contacts that want to get hot and heavy in Southwest Florida. So that's the proper networking that we're training our agents to basically pursue instead of going to a networking event at the Chamber of Commerce. Nothing against the Chamber of Commerce.
Yeah. It's just not the people you're looking for.
Correct.
It was the same with I was in a few networking groups when I first got here. They were great for me to get the foot in the door, meeting a few people. And just recently I did drop out of them because I was just and they're great. They totally understood. I was like, one, I haven't got the time to set aside a 1-hour meeting every week, which is, either side of it.
To exchange business cards.
Yeah. Well, it was more just as well, I know these people really well now, but I'm like, my price point is out of your budget and that's fine. But I'm like, I need to do it better now with different people. And they were great. But it's that thing as well. It was like, I'm setting aside these 2 to 3 hours a week that isn't unfortunately serving the company.
Agreed.
And so, but some people get trapped in that. Like, oh no, I'll keep doing this and it'll turn out.
Professional networkers.
Yeah, but not the right ones.
Right.
I would much rather go to a $31 million
It kind of reminds me of we used to do the seminars nationwide. So it was Trump before he was in politics. He used to have it was the Trump complex. It was in Vegas. It was in New York. It was in L.A. So we would always have a booth there, and then you would see these professional networkers and professional. They would do nothing. They would never invest, but they would go to all these education seminars. I was like, you're the most educated person that has never bought a property in 20 years. And I just didn't understand it. It's just like all they were looking for was just real estate education. And they had all this education on what to buy, when to buy, how to vet an investment opportunity, and they never did it. Yeah, that's kind of what I feel about networking. It reminds me of that.
Well, it's the university syndrome in a way. Those students that never really leave. They finish one degree,
that's right,
and they do another degree. Right. A lot of people have that in them. Because it's that fear of pulling the trigger.
It's professors. They're an expert in MBA in this and that and everything else. And have you ever done it? Have you ever bought a property? Have you ever invested in the stock market? And you're preaching all this stuff. And it's a different. You got certain people that do it, certain people that talk about it.
Yeah, that's the hard thing though. People are afraid of fucking up like that. True. Drag race thing I'm doing. I'm like, I don't know how it's going to go, but I'm going to find out.
But you're going to try it.
Yeah, it could be a huge success. I'm like, oh shit, we need to do another event with a different theme.
I mean, who would have thought that drag queen bingo was a thing? That's a huge thing now.
That is hilarious. That is fun. I haven't gone to it, but I've seen videos. I'm just like, interesting.
It's everywhere. So if you see sometimes a failing restaurant, all of a sudden they're doing drag, because that's a guarantee to at least actually pay your rent, right?
Yeah, I might after wearing that makeup, my hat goes off to drag queens because I'm just like, this shit is so uncomfortable.
True.
You got enough adversity of people, hating you unjustly. But you also got to dress that uncomfortably. That was enough adversity for me.
But yeah, can we at least do this in a colder market? It's 95 degrees outside.
Florida is so fucking hot. I love it, but it's you go to one meeting. I had a meeting the other day, and it's he could tell because my shirt is just starting to get sweat, and he goes, "You got another meeting after this?" I'm like, "Yeah, 10 minutes in the air conditioning, I should be fine." But Fuck, Florida.
You need 3 outfit changes.
Well, yeah, my wife on the way here literally told me off because I was like, I looked in the wardrobe. I'm like, Stace, I literally have 1 shirt left. And she's like, where do all your clothes go? And then I needed underwear. She's like, I have underwear in there. She goes in there. She's like, what? There's 1 pair left. She's like, you have a problem, Blake. I'm like, it's Florida. I go to the gym and I do things. I'm like, I have, again, like you said, at least 2 wardrobe changes a day.
Maybe stick a deodorant and cologne. Call it a day. Literally.
Yeah, it's a wild place here. I love it. What else is there? This video thing's throw me for a loop because I'm like, fuck, he's got my idea. Because my thing was just I love the big houses and I create content. And I was just gonna be like, hey, can I just do a walkthrough? You know, you guys get, and I just create my own little YouTube channel.
Well, it's eye candy. I mean, everybody, like we're going to have, you have to come up with your social media calendar and your rhythm. Like it's going to be maybe Penthouse Fridays, where every Friday we're going to highlight this gangster, something that would be on MTV Cribs Penthouse.
Yeah.
It's interesting and you want engagement, and to get engagement, you've got to be interesting and give them what they want type of thing, you know?
How long's the video going to be? Is it a full YouTube video or is it like more of a reel?
We'll have a 15-second, a 30-second, a full minute. Like if it's a new project that we want to highlight, it will have a good, it will have all different versions because, of course, you know, certain people like myself have the attention span of a gnat. So you got to capture me in the first 5 seconds for me to, you know, watch what you want to deliver, what message you want to deliver.
Gotcha. Okay, so we are a little bit different. I wanted to do like a fucking 15-minute, 20-minute, like detailed.
Yeah, no, and that's something that you do for, you know, just to get people here, how to get them to get to that 15-minute video. You gotta catch them quick.
You create all the micro content.
Correct.
Yeah, we have a full strategy ready in place. It's just getting the team now. That's the goal. And like there's a few other ideas I had aligned with it, which was luxury in general. But I think as well the game plan too is like when you know I have no, like, because I'm not a realtor, there's no incentive behind it. I think people would engage with it a little bit more because they're just like, I'm confused. There's like, why is this guy doing this?
Right.
So I'm going to listen.
What's the hustle?
Yeah. You know?
What's his angle?
Yeah. And if there's like no, at least perceived angle, there's that different sort of, it's like this podcast. I don't have an angle, but the great byproduct is I'm meeting fucking awesome people.
Right.
And then the other byproduct is people are like, who is this guy, this random Aussie who's just popping up on my feed all the time now?
Well, I mean, I'll take it a step further as far as, you know, real estate. It doesn't always have to be real estate on that feed. Like, again, incorporating hospitality, incorporating, you know, vacations, incorporating stuff that just basically is interesting to get their attention to then sell the real estate.
Yeah.
It's a full, where hospitality meets luxury real estate. That's pretty much that's our thing. That's where it's different. Not too many people do it. You know, there's some companies out of LA, New York, Miami that do it, but we're taking it even a step further. We're taking like that bespoke, Ritz-Carlton type of, you know, hospitality merged with high-end real estate. It's a different way of looking at things, and you know, so far beta testing it's going to be pretty special.
Yeah, people want to see it. People want to see it. Just point that more at you though. Sorry.
Gotcha.
You can move it. Like I said, get aggressive with it. Manhandle. Because if it has to point right at you, and don't worry, you're not the first person. I think every guest I tell.
I think we got it.
It's a really it's weird.
We good.
I got these. The reason these ones are really good because sometimes you'll hear noise through my head. Like I'll hear it. Like someone talking over there, but because these are so directional, it cuts them out.
Got it.
Thank God.
Got it.
Yeah, no, that's cool. And what on the topic of luxury in Southwest Florida, what is there here to do besides real estate in terms of like activities that you enjoy?
In Southwest Florida? Not much. Southwest Florida to me is, first of all, it's my home. It is a market that I have a fairly decent footing in, a lot of deep-rooted relationships. I like to travel outside of Southwest Florida during the weekends. I like to, go to Miami. I like to go to Lauderdale. I like to go to Tampa. Fortunately, we have presence and we have expansion in all those markets as well. So I'm always working a little bit, touring new projects and things of that nature. So that's kind of what I do personally. But look, Southwest Florida is beautiful. It's where people from the East Coast of Florida come over to get out of it, and I go to the East Coast to get into it, type of thing. So, but it's a great place to live Monday through Friday because it just keeps you motivated with, I'm passionate about what I do. So, working to me is not working.
Yeah, that's the goal.
That's correct.
A lot of people get stuck in that though. Like they're working.
Sure.
It's like how it's meant to be.
I get a lot of that from a lot of pressure.
Yeah, I don't. But it's funny.
Like, will you turn it off? Just turn it off. Like, turn what off?
Oh,
like,
I get it all the time.
Just
Yeah.
In general, turn it off.
Yeah, it's always business with you.
Right.
It's like, yeah. Correct. But I don't know. It's like, I think that is something you are kind of born with though as well.
Sure.
It's because I don't know about you, but I started my first business at 9 years old. It took 2 decades to figure out not the throwing away part, like to figure out how to do the micro quits, not the macro quits.
Sure.
But it's just one of those things. You can see, Gary Vaynerchuk talks about it. Like he started his own business, I think at 6. Ty Lopez started his own business at 6, like a lemon stand, but he had strategies involved. I don't know how you can't teach that. No, that's one thing that when we go to recruiting agents, we're more of a quality not quantity type of business model. So you have some of these companies that they've got 1,000 agents, and they come in and like, oh well, yeah, you can hang your license here, and they hang the license, and good luck. Yeah,
that's it. To me, the ideal agent that we look for, number one, you can't train a personality. A personality has to be natural. Yeah. So if it's like talking to this, this table, I'm really not interested, because then we have to go into all this training. Here's how you shake a person's hand. This is what you say to that person. We'll give some pointers, even with people with personality, but you can't train a personality, and you cannot train work ethic.
Yeah.
Work ethic has to be natural. And if they're not fully subscribed to that hustle, we pass.
Yeah.
So we'd rather have just, 40 or 50 top producers that just get that environment of they just want to do more. And when they get that taste of success, and when they do that first $10 million transaction, the right response is, how do I do 5 more of these? The wrong response is, let's actually go spend some money and go on vacation for 3-4 weeks and, let's just start blowing some money. That's not the natural thing to do of what we look for. We look for, hustlers in a positive way.
That's the tricky thing too because you're still in a way, they're their own boss, their own income stream. Because I experience that a lot. It's like, oh, I made this much this month. And they're like, oh, great. What are we going to do? I'm like, do it again next month.
Or more, or increase it.
Yeah, because it's like everything for me is an average of at least the last 6 to 8 weeks before I make the next decision, When I was here, it was very different, though. It was like when I first moved here, first paycheck that came in, I was like, all right, podcast studio. It was literally, I think, 80 to 90% of the money went straight back out.
Right.
Because I was like, no, this is the next step I have to do, and I can't wait for an average. But now it's at that point where it's like, all right, we've got this, okay, then the next step versus, and like, don't get me wrong, still want to go back to Australia, want to visit that. Right. But I find, and you might agree to this too, I love creating quote unquote problems that I need to overcome. So like one of my things is, well, how do I create a business or a system where it's like I can go to Australia for 3 weeks, still run it from there, but it's still generating its cash flow here. I think if I was in Australia, I wouldn't have that problem that I'd need to solve.
Well, I mean, COVID changed, and again, being adaptive and seeing COVID did change that whole, office space, 9 to 5. Zoom calls now have modified and changed the industry altogether. But I'm still old school. Like, I like to see the agents in the office because that's where the opportunities come up. I'm typically, if I get a phone call with a developer, and I literally will actually look at the agent in front of me and say, hey, deal with this. So it's like low-hanging fruit. So now everybody they subscribe to that. So now they're even though real estate is a very transient business, your showings, you're basically, just reverse prospecting, you're making phone calls. You don't typically, have to be at the office. But now everybody really that works for Cozza Realty Group, they get it. They get my personality, and, we got a lot of leads coming in, and it's low-hanging fruit, so stay at the office, because then it's a think tank too, because sometimes I look at a deal differently than somebody else, so collectively together we're stronger. Not to sound cheesy, but that's basically what it is.
It's spot on. The issue with Zoom-based businesses is you haven't got those opportunities for accidental aha moments. Like, say for example, you're at the desk, you're trying to figure something out, and you turn to your colleague on your left, and you're like, hey, I'm struggling with this, and this. And then your colleague down the hall hears you. And then they're like, oh, yeah, it's this, and this. Mm-hmm. You can't do that on a Zoom.
That's correct.
Because if you reach out to that colleague on your left on the Zoom, that person's not even hearing it, and it's not going to accidentally find out. So that was the thing.
So you lost that. Yeah, in Zoom, you lose that personal interaction. You lose that how to read a person. And sometimes in these a development deal or a negotiation, that you kind of really have to get that poker face, and that you have to understand what's going to move a person a little bit, make them uncomfortable. You can't read that on Zoom. People could literally be reading from a script that you don't see. And I'd rather actually just, size up a person in person, so we can understand how to make a deal work or how to make a deal not work. Yeah,
in person's so different too. It sucks because I wish I was at least like 6'3". I feel like that's also an unfair advantage. Like I went to a thing yesterday. Have you heard of North Star Industries?
I have.
Yeah, so it was one of their events. Their shit's cool. But yeah, I'm like talking to 3 guys, and I'm like, they're this much taller than me. Like a good 6 inches. And I'm like, I feel like the bitch in this situation. I feel like Kevin Hart. And like, I have to bring out something, to make me feel like I'm at least the same height. But it's wild, even little things like that.
It is.
To the point we were joking about me having like the Russell Brand boots, where it adds an extra 2.5 inches.
Absolutely, why not?
Yeah. I'm like, all right, I need to be up 6 foot.
Cheat a little bit, just a little bit.
Yeah, no, in person's and it's funny too, because you can really feel someone's power in the way they hold themselves, the way they speak sometimes in person too, where it's like, I think
it's the only way to shed light on potential BS.
Yes. Yeah. Because it happens.
Because they can only fake it for so long.
Yeah.
Then you just ask some questions, and
you can read it in their body too, because
correct.
The Zoom, it's like, also the Zoom it takes away eye contact. Because you can't, it's impossible to have eye contact. You try and do it.
Now you're staring at me right now.
Yeah. Well, no. So you've got the screens here with their face,
right?
But the camera's up here. So either you're fucking retarded staring at a camera, but I can't look at the person and read them to see mannerisms. But it's like, I'm always looking like this at you. It's kind of weird.
Sure. A little freaky.
Yeah. So during COVID, I know Florida opened up pretty early. How are you guys?
It did more on the west coast of Florida. So east coast of Florida was a little bit more. It's politics.
It was definitely politics.
You got blue states, blue areas, and all of the governments. Southwest Florida, we're Trumpland USA. We're very red, and all the local politicians. That's why Southwest Florida opened up very quickly.
Yeah. It was a shame how political it got. It was like, this is all it is. It was so blatant.
It's very blatant.
It was like, all right, what state is that? All right, what's the predominant party? okay, this is how they're going to be in
And
terms
then
of that.
let's shut it down, and then let's throw some more money at it, some more government subsidy, and then now we got inflation. Let's throw more money at that too.
That'll fix it.
Yeah, that's
Like the way you fix a
that's
burning
worked before, right?
The way you fix a burning house is you throw more fire.
Yeah. Worked before, right? Show me one track record of where this actually worked.
Yeah. So you guys over here, did you find there was any limitations on the East Coast? Yeah, East Coast. That it was making it difficult compared to over here?
Well, Florida in general, DeSantis is the man. I mean, hopefully he doesn't run for president, because I'm like the jealous ex-girlfriend. Like, don't. No, I want you here. I want you here. Stay in Florida. But, remember him and Cuomo, they were sparring very early on in COVID, and now we know who won that battle.
Cuomo didn't do too well.
So Cuomo and, you got Gavin Newsom, California. Their economies are decimated, and that's what really sparked Florida to boom in the residential and commercial sector. It's just because of the fact that we always are competitive because of the weather. Number one, no state income tax. Like, it's always we get the benefit of any type of opportunistic real estate market where we boom. Then you had COVID, so it was a perfect storm, which is why we saw the type of capital growth over a 2-3 year period that we did.
It felt like what was it? They said they printed off 20% of the history of money was printed off in the last 18 months. It feels like most of that came down here.
Right. So let's see what happens now. Is monkeypox a new thing now? If that becomes,
according to the news, only to the gay people. So if you're butt fucking, be careful. That's from the news. That's not my words.
Right. That's direct from CNN, right?
Yes. Yeah. No. Yeah. Gavin Newsom's a funny dude.
He's scary though. He's got the charisma.
Does he though?
He's got a little Obama.
He's the only person that makes me feel like the lizard people conspiracy theory might be real. Because he looks like a lizard.
He looks the part where I guess maybe a lizard's a thing.
He looks like a lizard. Look at him.
But
when he talks.
He's definitely going to be a formidable candidate.
Really?
Whoever he runs, if he runs, because we'll see if Biden can make it the next 2 years for another run.
Biden, he's entertaining.
Oh, he's Mr. Gaff.
It's funny because
they're propping him up with something,
bruh. Whatever it is, it's just funny how I tell this to my family. I'm like, the amount of shit he says. If that was Trump saying that shit, it'd be all over the news.
I mean, you saw him actually read from the teleprompter.
That was
it says,
amazing.
"Please repeat over again." It was like an anchor man.
I'm Ron Burgundy.
It was like, oh my God, somebody please institutionalize our president.
Yeah. But he was so funny, and I think at least it's made. I mean, look, I'm not a fan of him, but it was kind of nice to not have such a hot lightning rod that Trump was.
Right.
I'm not pro or anti-Trump.
Right.
I'm sort of anti the reaction to Trump.
Sure.
But it is I would laugh at stuff that I'm not pro-Trump. I'm not even anti, like I said, but he'd say dumb shit like a comedian or some larrikin would say it, and I'm like, that's fucking funny. They're like, oh, you support him. I'm like, no.
Right. It created such a polarized environment where it's just it would create just literally a war.
Yeah, and he would lean into a few things. I was like, mate, can you at least denounce QAnon? Just say I got no part of it. But he would never do it.
Where you would almost have to distance yourself. Like there was this underground of I'm a Trump supporter, but I can't say it.
Yeah,
I can't do it because I'm going to offend somebody.
Yeah,
and
Hollywood's very much like that. Rogan speaks about that where he's like. He has friends, and even Andrew Schultz, another comedian, he's like, I have friends that are in the news or they're in Hollywood, and they are like, yeah, I'm kind of pro-gun.
Right. You won't get hired. You won't get hired. Your acting career is over if you espouse some other opinion other than what the left wants you, what George Soros wants to for you to say.
Except Chris Pratt's the only exception. He's the only one that's openly Republic. But even then they go after him. They're like, oh,
and Chuck Norris too.
Chuck is bet like Chuck was the guy that basically invented the internet.
Right.
Because remember, like, I don't know, whenever it was like high school, like 2003, 2004, there was only 2 websites that really were like my go-to website. It was Chuck Norris quotes and Chuck Norris facts.
Right.
And what was the other one? Fuck. George Bush quotes.
Yeah.
They were the 2 biggest websites at the time when the internet was young. And that was how we'd pass our time in high school. You know, like Chuck Norris. There was one I went on it recently because people are still updating that website 20 years later.
Really?
One of them was Chuck Norris got COVID and COVID is in isolation now.
I like it.
Yeah, he's a great dude. Oh my God. But yeah, man, I think we've been going for a while actually. Hour and 40.
Ooh.
I hope it didn't feel long.
I thought we were at like 60 minutes.
I'll take it.
That's good.
It is funny. Like,
I think we covered a full variety of things.
And I am. Fuck, I gotta pee, bro. Like that's why I went to the bathroom before because I'm like, there's no way I'm lasting 90 minutes or so.
Sure.
And then again, I got a drinking problem, but it's water. But so people trying to reach you or whatever, I'll have it in the description too. But
sure,
people that are trying to reach you, how do they come across Brad?
Well, I mean, we spoke very in depth about how the effectiveness of social media. So I respond best by DM. I mean, I encourage people to creep in the DM business, whatever.
Yeah.
Also, we are launching our website, CozzaRealtyGroup.com. It's going to have latest and greatest projects across the state of Florida. So we're not pigeonholing ourselves and saying that we're only in one area. We represent Florida. So, you know, we're going to have a big outreach to brokers nationwide, especially in blue states, that we're going to represent a full variety of projects. And we're going to have that almost that little inside baseball, like, hey, here's a great project in Brickell. But the play here is buy the studio apartments at this price point because it's going to be the lowest. Like, we're going to give it a little bit more inside baseball and not just say, buy a unit at this place.
Yeah.
We're going to say, here's the best, here's the strategy. And, you know, I mean, if you buy something else other than my strategy, I'm not going to be offended.
Yeah. Yeah, there's definitely more fish in the sea too. And that's the one thing with America with real estate. It just doesn't feel like there's ever scarcity.
Right.
If that makes sense.
That's true. No, you're absolutely
like,
right.
It's just like you turn around, there's another construction, there's something else happening.
Always.
Then there's always more people too.
It's population growth.
Yeah. Oh, last question I forgot to ask. What's your thing on, like, so I've heard predictions of real estate prices will taper, but the rent will skyrocket.
So rent is skyrocketing and rent is stable. I do not expect rent prices to see any type of change in the southerly fashion. So I think that it's going to maintain, which is why we need to build more rental units. And that's why, you know, this type of marketplace, you pivot and you find a different area that you can actually create affordable, you know, recession-proof investments. So that's why we've pivoted with our developer, and you know, we're about to actually launch something that's going to have a 1 in front of it instead of a 2.
That's nice. What areas are those looking at?
Lehigh Acres, Punta Gorda, Port Charlotte, Northport. You know, feeder markets. You know, not a Sarasota but you know, we love that those affordable markets that are, you know, in close proximity to a metropolitan center.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, because that was my concern with what was happening here, was it was getting too rich that there's nothing, like all the restaurants and everything are going to suffer because they can't find staff. And they're like, oh, I'm paying $20 an hour. It's like, yeah, but I can get paid that if I don't drive an hour and a half to work. So that's cool because that's a big thing. So keep your eyes on that.
Workforce housing.
Yeah,
that's a thing.
We need that. So I'm glad. Well, cool, man. Good to meet you, and thanks for coming.
Thank you so much.
We'll definitely keep in touch.
It was a pleasure.
And guys, make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. And love you. Bye.
Sweet.
Sweet. Oh, thank you. You're right.